Alright, here's a show I think is really worth some looking into. This show is premiering on the Hub on Saturday, so before it's released on the Hub, with about 5 episodes, and I could see more of this, I'll probably give the show another review. To start, this is an interesting idea for an American cartoon. I mean, here's something I thought I would only see in a Japanese anime, but here it is in America, and does it hold up? Well, I've only seen the first episode, so here's what I think so far. First, I'll give you what I think is good in the show. It starts out nicely and gives us a pretty good reason to why this kid is who literally is named Guy and is now a female superhero. You know, it's not one of those cartoons where it starts you off with a superhero or abnormal character and no real reason why he's like this and you're supposed to just deal with it. So, here's the story. Guy and his sister Kelly just inherited their recently deceased aunt's house. So, they find that in her basement is a ring that could turn anyone into the legendary superhero SheZow. Kelly is very excited about this, but Guy just puts on the ring teasing her about it and then turns into SheZow, which is a very creative original idea to explain why this guy is now a female superhero. I also find it pretty cool that he could just turn back into a boy and he's not just SheZow for life now, and they kinda give a whole take of this on how it works at the end of the episode, which is unique and original and you should check it out. I also really love the voice acting in this too. It's very nicely done and the voices fit nicely for each character, and the two main characters are pretty likable so far. Oh, and for any bronies watching, Guy has a best friend named Maz, who is played by Matt Hill, the voice of Soren from MLP. Apparently, Guy is just dressed as a girl when he's SheZow, so there's no gender bend here, so don't worry soccer moms, you can put down your pitchforks and protest for less mentally handicapped characters in our programming. I also like his sister Kelly a lot as well, since she's constantly jealous of Guy since she wanted to be SheZow originally, and is constantly on his ass, making him do everything SheZow's supposed to do now, which gives this character a lot of, well, character to her. Their dad's a cop, and can't find out that he's SheZow either, because apparently he takes away all the glory from him since he is, well, a cop, and she's a superhero. He also has to fake a female voice when being SheZow, and unlike most generic superheroes, he actually can't fly, and they execute it in a funny, smart way. Alright, now it's finally time for the bad things about the show. Everything about the show that isn't about SheZow or Guy is just plain boring and generic. Before I go into the most obvious of problems, the first half is so rushed. I mean, they have so much to explain and they cram it into 11 minutes. I mean, I think they should have just went with the whole 22 minutes. Which has to cram in things like his best friend reacting to him being SheZow, which is just him laughing and making a bunch of puns. Which leads with the most obvious of problems. The jokes. Or I should say, the puns. All of the jokes in this are just, well, she puns. Like SheZow has a car called the She-hickle. Or Guy says he's a she-lebrity. There are a couple of jokes in there, but that's very rare and only really gets a little chuckle out of you at the most. I heard the puns end up coming up less later on, but I'll just have to wait and see. Now, going back to the whole She-hickle idea, this is something I could have seen coming from a mile away. A superhero with a car, and of course, a female supercomputer that can talk, with the generic female spy voice of course. Yeah, this show has a lot of originality to it, but this is something they didn't need. I mean, an American cartoon where a boy transforms into a girl? Yet, you had to give him a car that transforms into other vehicles and a female computer. At least give the computer a different, unique personality instead of a generic, smart supercomputer with a generic voice. Now, I know I said I liked the main characters before, but I said the two main characters. I do not really like any of the other characters so far. His best friend Maz is just that generic manly boy character. He's a skateboarder, and he likes to pull off stupid stunts, and he's not too bright of characters. Yeah, it seems pretty generic, along with the fact that he tries to be a new sidekick for SheZow, like a man made of meat. But it seems a bit repetitive, especially since I heard he does this every episode, which makes him seem just like a joke. And I want this character to have more an actual personality to him, since he is one of the main characters. I know I said I really love Guy's character before, but in the beginning, it just makes him seem like a generic dude who hates to do girly things. It would have been a lot more interesting for them to change his character to some kind of comic book nerd who's obsessed with superheroes, but instead of becoming that strong, brave superhero he wanted to be, he just becomes a female superhero, instead of going with the generic, I'm a dude, I hate girly things personality. Which brings me to, of course, the villains. The first villains, which were a group of pirates, didn't really get any screen time at all since the first episode is a bit rushed, so they don't really have any character to them, and the second villain's Cole's Finger. is he's just your generic first episode dumb-witted bad guy who will probably come back in more episodes as the comic relief type villain. I mean, he gets distracted by stupid things like the main characters dressing up like ice cream men, selling spicy ice cream. Also, unlike how Guy has this whole reasonable explanation why he's now SheZow, this character is a man made of ice who lives with his mom, and we're just supposed to be okay with that? I mean, why is he an Iceman? Why does he live with his mom? Is he an adult? Because he sounds like a teenager to me. I mean, ugh. I expected this show to have a lot more interesting villains like in Teen Titans, especially with a cross-dressing superhero, but so far, I just don't see it happening. Other than that, I hope in future episodes they have an episode about stuff that actually has him struggling with the hardships of being a girl, because other than that, he might as well just be a male superhero who doesn't really want to be a superhero in the beginning, because that's what it seems like they're doing so far. Well, that's all I have to say so far. In conclusion, the show's okay. It could be better if they A. Lay low on the puns and try to add in some more jokes since this is a comedy after all. B. They can keep the characters the way they are, but if they're gonna do that, I hope they expand on these characters' personalities a lot more. Or C. Just make Guy become a girl for a reason, instead of it just being some kind of joke that a man dressing as a woman is funny, which in my opinion, that's pretty offensive for a children's show, and it's teaching kids the wrong message, which can lead to it being taken off the air. Hopefully, this show expands on these things, and I can make another review about it, and even if it doesn't, I'm sure I'll go back to it soon. And that's it. Yeah, I'm still working on a better way to end these videos.